The first hit wasn't the laptop, it was his voice. Your future? That's a joke, Dad spat, the words dripping like acid. Then the laptop came down on my head. Plastic cracked, metal bent, the screen went dark. My thesis, 3 years of work, dead in an instant. You don't deserve a future, he snarled. You're just a leech. And from the corner, Mom laughed. Not nervously, not in shock. She laughed like she'd been waiting for this moment. I didn't cry, I didn't shout. I stood there, dizzy from the impact, tasting blood, and knew this wasn't going to end here. When I was a kid, I thought my father was a giant, not just in size, but in presence. His word was law, his approval rare enough to chase like oxygen. And my mother, she was the mediator, or so I thought. The one who softened his blows, who explained his moods. But over time, I saw the cracks. The way her eyes lit up when he cut me down, the way she'd repeat his insults later, quieter, as if reinforcing the truth. I didn't just lose parents that day. I realized I'd never had them. The betrayal wasn't the attack, it was the years before it. The promises of support, the proud of you when I got into my program, the pretense that they wanted me to succeed. All while they chipped away at my confidence, my independence, my will to stand on my own. I used to think they were afraid of me failing. Now I know they were afraid of me succeeding. I didn't move out right away. They thought they'd broken me, that I'd curl up, give up, settle into the role they'd carved for me. Dependent, small, controllable. Instead, I played the part, quiet, obedient, but inside I was memorizing every bill, every account, every point of leverage they had. The plan started with my scholarship advisor. I explained, without drama, that my thesis was destroyed in an incident at home. I didn't mention violence. I didn't need to. The bruise on my temple told its own story. They arranged emergency funding, a loaner laptop, and extensions on every deadline. That was my lifeline. Next, I found work, remote, flexible, and lucrative enough to stockpile cash. I didn't tell my parents. I let them think I was struggling, still dependent on their charity. Meanwhile, I gathered proof. Photos of the destroyed laptop, medical notes from the headache that lasted a week, copies of every threatening text and voicemail from Dad. It was more than enough. 3 months later, my thesis was submitted. 4 months later, I walked across the stage to receive my degree. They weren't there. I didn't invite them. 5 months later, the first payment on the mortgage bounced. They called me in a panic. Dad's voice was tight. "Did you mess with a bank account?" "No," I said, "but I did move my deposits, all of them. My paycheck, the utility auto payments, the internet bill. I stopped covering them." "What?" Mom snapped in the background. "You ungrateful—" "I'm not finished," I cut in. "I also filed a police report about the assault." The silence on the line was almost pleasant. I gave them copies of the photos, the messages, the receipts for the laptop, and I told them about the years of financial control. They called it coercive abuse. "You wouldn't dare," Dad growled. I already did. The case moved faster than I expected. Turns out, assaulting your adult child and destroying property, especially when they've been paying your bills, doesn't look great in court. They were fined, ordered to pay restitution for the laptop. But the real punishment wasn't legal. It was financial. Without my income, their house bled money. Late fees piled up. The internet bill lapsed. Within 6 months, they sold the second car. Within a year, they sold the house. I never saw them during the move-out. A neighbor told me my father's hands shook as he loaded the last box. My mother didn't smile that day. Here's the truth no one tells you about revenge. It doesn't have to be loud. You don't have to scream or throw things or meet violence with violence. Sometimes the best revenge is building a life so far beyond their reach that they can only watch it from a distance, while everything they used to control slips through their fingers. They taught me one lesson I'll never forget. Don't depend on people who want you to fail. And I taught them mine. Don't break what you can't afford to lose.